Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Jeff's Garage. I know I haven't posted a video in a long time, but I've just been really busy with a whole bunch of projects. But just wanted everyone to know that I'm still in the scene and look forward to more new video guides in the near future. So stay tuned and subscribe to my channel. Okay, today we're going to be looking at how to rebuild a 2JZ or 1JZ VVTi pulley. This is a common problem in higher mileage vehicles or older ones. What happens is there's actually an O-ring inside here, and the O-ring breaks down over time, typically anywhere from about 10 years or about 100,000 miles. Past that point, this rubber O-ring deteriorates and starts to crack, and oil is allowed to pass through the O-ring, and what happens is it enters this seam here and leaks out and makes a huge mess everywhere. This is pretty common problem on higher mileage cars and older vehicles, and it's usually a headache for a lot of people. It's not something that you usually look for because a pulley, it never usually leaks, but these do on higher mileage, and most people will replace the cam seals, crank seals, valve cover gaskets, and everything, and still leaking, and source of a lot of frustrations for a lot of people. So, anyways, I'm going to show you how to actually rebuild this unit, and I do sell a rebuild kit, which pretty much just consists of the O-ring. It's a custom spec, high temperature, high durability O-ring that can resist many chemicals. It's made of Viton rubber, and in the Toyota service manual from the factory, they actually don't spec a rebuild procedure. If the pulley leaks or is damaged, the Toyota manual says just to replace the pulley. And specifically in the manual it says do not remove these 5 bolts on the VVTi pulley itself. The reason for that is because, there's a couple reasons. Everything has to be oriented properly. Because the bolts are evenly spaced, you can easily have the VVTi pulley set, any degrees off, 180 degrees or any of the in between. And that of course will destroy all your valves on the intake side. And the second reason is every pulley actually is machined specifically and then aligned at the factory. I'll show you how to reset that to the original position. But first, I'll go ahead and show you all the tools needed. It's a 10mm socket and wrench. I have an electric impact, so I'm using that, and some blue Loctite, razor blade, and of course the O-ring supplied in the rebuild kit. And you can get this O-ring from my website. First thing you want to do is go ahead and remove the 5 bolts that the service manual tells you not to remove. Next step, usually you want to pull the top cover of the VVTi pulley off the bottom half. I've already pulled this one off earlier, but just to demonstrate, on higher mileage cars, the O-ring will be fused inside, so the 2 pieces will be very difficult to take apart. So what you want to do is take some kind of socket or extension, get to the bottom of it, and then just tap it lightly with the hammer, and then the top part will fall out of the assembly. Okay, now that it's open, here's a couple reasons why they tell you not to open it. Everything has to be reassembled precisely, or else you'll have a valve to piston contact in the engine. And it's actually not too difficult to put it all back together. Right here this is the actual VVTi actuator gear. There's a match mark here and on this piece there's a match mark here. You can actually install this piece upside down, so make sure when you reassemble it the two match marks do line up. Okay, the next step, this is the cause of all your leaking oil problems right here. This O-ring is actually on this pulley it's still good, but on if yours is leaking, of course it's going to be cracked, or I mean it's old and hardened and brittle. So what you want to do is go ahead and take a razor blade and run it along the edge. Remove the old O-ring. Okay, that's the junk. You don't want that anymore. Okay, next you want to go ahead and clean up the mating surface here so you don't have any sealing issues when you put everything back together. I'll just use a can of brake cleaner. Make sure the surface is very clean. Do the same thing to this side as well. Make sure you get down inside the groove where the O-ring actually sits. Make sure that's clean. The last thing you want is to have some dirt in here and have it bind inside the gear and, you know, prematurely wear out the whole assembly. And go ahead and clean these up too. Okay, after everything's cleaned up, you want to start assembling the inner gear pieces together. There's a match mark here and a match mark right here. Line them up, the pieces drop in together. Next step, there's on the outside, also where the match mark is, there's a flat spot. There's teeth all around, and then basically one spot that's missing a tooth. So if you look on the outside of the cover, there's teeth all around and one side missing a tooth right here. So hold this vertically so the inner piece doesn't fall out. You can't assemble it upside down unless you hold the piece, but that makes it more steps. So just hold it straight, line the two lines up, and the part slides right in. Okay, the next step is to install the O-ring that comes in the rebuild kit. So the procedure is to stretch the O-ring slightly, because in normal form the O-ring is slightly smaller than the actual diameter needed. The reason for this is to get the proper height and squish thickness on the O-ring. You need to stretch it out a little bit to make it slightly thinner. And also, this is the only way that it can fit into the groove. So stretch it a little bit, drop it right into the groove. As you see, it fits properly now. Okay, the next step is a bit more tricky because you have to hold the whole assembly in, or else I use my pinky. If you don't, then everything will fall out. You have to start all over again. So hold everything in. Now you see there's 5 bolt holes and a notch right here. There's also 5 bolt holes, and the notch on the top cover goes to this large hole that doesn't have any threading for any bolts to go into. And also, you have to put the top part on to the bottom part relatively quickly because the O-ring will want to start shrinking back to the original size. See, I waited about 20-30 seconds too long and it's starting to go back. It's fine, just stretch it out again. Drop it back in. Make sure it's sitting in the groove. And then you have about 15-20 seconds to line that up. And there you go. Okay, the trick reassembling this is if you look, basically you look at this, you can move the slot around a little bit and see there's a clean spot on the metal and then a dirty spot on the metal. You want to line the groove back up to the dirty spot because that's basically where the factory has laser aligned the gear, internal gear of the pulley to. So once it's lined up there, you can start putting the bolts in. I'm just going to put one in just to show you why it's important to line that notch back up to the original place, because from the factory each pulley internal gear does have slight manufacturing tolerances or differences in every pulley, so they align it at the factory. So this is actually why Toyota tells you not to take this apart, because if you don't put it back together correctly on this part, see, the pulley actually has a couple degrees of back and forth movement. It's not much, but it's a couple degrees and could throw off your timing a little bit. So go ahead and apply Loctite to all 5 bolts. And finger tight them first. Just make sure you don't cross thread anything. And once again, make sure the slot is aligned in the proper place that it was from the factory. So in this one, it's all the way to the left. Yours may be different. So next step, go ahead and install the bolts. This gun has a special torque limiting setting, so if you're going to be using your own tools and have a small torque wrench, these need to be fastened to about 10 foot-pounds and you should be good. And with the Loctite in there, they should not back out until the next time you have to take the pulley apart. So hopefully this guide will help you get rid of your oil leak problems that are coming from your VVTi pulley on your 1J or 2J VVTi. Alright everybody, and see you next time. Also everyone, I wanted to add that I do offer the VVTi pulley rebuilding service for those of you not comfortable with taking the pulley apart and reassembling everything and make sure it's lined up exactly and torqued to spec. I do it for a pretty reasonable fee compared to buying a brand new one from the dealership, and range anywhere from $150 to $200 to buy it brand new. That's about how much it would be. And another option that I do offer is to have the pulleys custom painted. These are actually matched to the HKS purple anodized color. That's a very close match to the color, and what this allows you to do is have your intake gear match up with the exhaust aftermarket gear. This is a common problem a lot of people had in the past, that they'd have the nice looking exhaust side gear and the intake side gear would be this, you know, the factory steel piece and maybe dirty or rusted looking. So now you have the option to basically have the best of both worlds. You can cut open your valve covers on, or open them on both sides instead of only opening the exhaust side and hiding the ugly factory intake side. You can pick from a variety of colors. I have the most common anodized color finishes: the silver, the blue anodized, and the purple. So I can get any custom color, but the paint will cost extra because this is actual 3-stage car paint. So it comes out just as good as the finish on the exterior of your car. So I hope this sums it up for everyone, and good luck on fixing your VVTi oil leaks, or if you have problems, give me an email and we'll see what we can do for you.